Good afternoon and welcome to From Where We Are, stories of news and culture through the lens of USC and Southern California. I'm Carla Cruz, and we're coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center.
And I'm Maricruz Villalobos. It's Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. On today's ARN's last Wednesday of the semester. We discuss how graduating students are preparing to say goodbye to USC during grad week, how Denim Day is being celebrated and what it means, Jewish Heritage Month, what role will ICE have in this year's May Day, and the USC Dorns Live Coffee Talk with the first openly gay official to be elected to citywide office. All that and more from
Where We Are. But first, today's headlines.
USC's women's water polo team just won the NCAA National Collegiate Championship. With a final score of 10-9, the team celebrated by showing off their dance moves. They told Annenberg's Avi Singh that the team thinks, quote, fun is a defining word for this team.
The Supreme Court has weakened a key part of the Voting Rights Act. The justices issued the 6-3 ruling over Louisiana's congressional map. The decision makes it much harder to prove racial discrimination in redistricting by requiring clear proof of intent. Critics say the ruling demolishes protections for minority voters, while supporters argue it reinforces race-neutral lawmaking. The decision could lead to district maps that reduce minority representation. Oh, Maricruz, your fly is down.
Oh no! Thanks for telling me on
National Zipper Day.
In other news, the girls are fighting, or rather, the candidates running for California governor are. From trying to, quote, stop Steve Hilton's daddy, to Katie Porter reviewing the debate as, quote, worse than my teenagers at dinner, the event highlighted rising tensions as no candidate leads the polls, and about a quarter of voters remain undecided. With ballots set to go out soon, candidates face increasing pressure to stand out in one of the most wide-open races in decades.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is set to hit theaters this Friday. Fans anticipate the return of Meryl Streep as icy fashion editor Miranda Priestley, as well as Anne Hathaway as Andrea Sachs. The iconic duo is set to strut down the office to a star-studded soundtrack that includes Lady Gaga and Doechii. Last month, 18-year-old USC freshman Tucker Collins was shot in the eye by a DHS officer with a less-than-lethal weapon. Today, Collins is in the process of filing a lawsuit against DHS, alleging that the department should be held liable for his injuries. ATVN reporter Mary Elizabeth sat down with him today to go over the latest developments.
So joining us in studio today is USC freshman Tucker Collins, who was shot in the eye while documenting a protest in downtown Los Angeles, an incident that has since sparked legal action and conversations about press safety. Tucker, thank you so much for joining us in studio today.
Thank you.
Of course. So my first question is if you could just recount what you remember from that day and ultimately what led up to the shooting.
Yeah, so I was at the protest downtown. At first it was at City Hall, and then eventually I went to the Metropolitan Detention Center. All I had brought was my camera. I was just there to, take photos, take videos, to document. Not long after I had arrived at the Metropolitan Detention Center, maybe 20 minutes, I was shot in the eye. There was no warning. There was a fence. I was 30 feet away. No one around me was throwing anything. The worst I had seen anyone do in that crowd was throw a plastic water bottle. There was, no justification for what happened. And, shortly afterwards, thankfully there were some people there. They helped me get to the hospital, and then eventually they had to, remove my eye.
And it's now been a little over a month since the shooting. How are you feeling, and how has this process ultimately been for you?
I'm really trying as hard as I can to sort of claw back normalcy. And then there's also the fact that now I just have to adapt to, life with one eye. Like it ain't growing back anytime soon. So there's all of these things where I have no clue, like if I'll be able to do it if I'll be able to do everything I was, doing beforehand the same. There's so many things of I liked like going, scrambling and, climbing on rocks out at, Joshua Tree, one of my favorite places in the world. And that's a little more dangerous to do when you don't have as good depth perception.
As a fellow journalist, you were just trying to report on the ground and take photographs. How do you now speak and view the safety on journalism after what happened to you?
I think, it has me very scared for the future. Not to belabor the point, but the weapons they were using, they can aim them. They have a lot of precision. And in some regards, they knew that they were aiming towards me. And the only people next to me, was me and other people also there with cameras out. And I think in some ways, I think they want to instill like a fear. They want people to be scared of, one, speaking out. They want people to be scared of, two, documenting the crimes they are doing, because it is a crime. I was shot at by this person, and so it really, in a lot of ways, has made me. It's made me more fearful for the future, but it's also hardened my resolve in the fact that I have truly recognized how necessary it is to have people document what's going on, because if there wasn't someone there who took a video of when it happened to me, then it would be so much harder for me to seek justice if there was no recording or any documentation of what happened. But thankfully, in my case, there is.
From everyone at Annenberg, we wish you a healthy and a safe recovery. But thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
What if you don't have any health care? What are you going to do for the
Ridiculous.
people
I thought I got to answer, but apparently we're just going to do this.
What you're proposing is not in there. You can't.
That's not correct. That's not correct.
Let's go to that, because that was not the question. The question was, here comes the fire. What are you going to do?
It was a heated debate on Tuesday night where a second discussion took place at Pomona College in the city of Claremont, California. There was another opportunity for the 8 candidates to seize momentum in the tumultuous race. The 5 leading candidates are 3 Democrats, Tom Steyer, Xavier Becerra, Katie Porter, and 2 Republicans, Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco. Only 2 can rise above the rest, but the polls show that many voters are still undecided. Our reporter, Amy Contreras, sat down with Assistant Director of USC Dorn's Life Center for the Political Future, Diego Andrade, who has been closely following California's governor's race and attended the debate last night.
I'm here with Diego Andrade, Assistant Director of the USC Dorn's Life Center for the Political Future, who was at the California governor's debate yesterday, which was held at Pomona College. Diego, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Now, after seeing the debate yesterday, I realized that it was a very fiery and defining moment, because not only did voters get to learn more about the 8 gubernatorial candidates, their policy proposals, but also we got to see some temperament, since almost all of the candidates were basically talking over each other. And this is a crucial point in time for registered California voters, given the fact that they will be receiving their ballots, I believe, in less than a week. So since you were there, my first question to you is, what stood out to you the most from the debate? And what does it tell us about where this race is headed?
Yeah, I think what stuck out the most was the arguing and bickering with the candidates. The moderators were very selective with when they chose to enforce the rules. So we saw candidates speaking over each other, like you said. We saw them fighting with one another. So to me, that shows that they're all still trying to get the media attention that they need. A lot of them were looking for their moment that could get clipped and recirculated throughout the internet. Not many of those moments landed, and to the audience, it just felt flat and looked disorganized. All it really showed was that there's no clear front runner, and the people that are clear front runners in the polls didn't outshine their colleagues on stage. So it still is a wide open race. And yesterday just made it more unclear who's going to be the next governor of our state.
This follows up to my next question of, based on what you saw yesterday, do you think any candidate emerged as a clear front runner? I know you just said it's still too wide open to call.
Yeah, I think that the clear winner of the debate yesterday was Chad Bianco. Not because of his performance, but because he was the best at messaging to his base. There are two Republicans on stage, and because of the Trump endorsement, Bianco's polls really fell. But the debates are the first place where voters start to realize that Hilton actually isn't a natural born citizen, that he's a recent immigrant, which is fine for most voters in California, but for the Republican Party, that's been concerning. So we've started to see the support that he's gotten fall a little, but yesterday was really Bianco's time to go in for the kill, and he did a little bit. He presented himself as the true MAGA Republican, and compared to him, Hilton looked like a moderate Democrat. All the gains that Hilton experienced because of Trump's endorsement might soon be lost. But with the Democrats, Tom Steyer and Becerra had the most to lose. And I think Tom Steyer held his own. He was a fair performer, but all of the other candidates on stage chose to take shots at Becerra. So this was his race to lose and his debate to lose, and I don't think that he won it for sure. Other candidates like Viragosa and Tony Thurmond, they had standout performances. And so I think all that this is going to do is confuse voters more.
These debates also reveal not only what candidates emphasize, but also what they avoid discussing. So I wanted to know, was there any issue or policy challenge in your perspective facing California right now that was missing or not addressed deeply enough?
The most shocking part of yesterday's debate was that almost every candidate chose to skip a softball question. They were asked by moderators what to do in the first few hours after a natural disaster occurs. And the candidates didn't answer that. Some of them said that they wouldn't have to deal with that because they're going to mitigate disasters on the front end with fire prevention. Bianco said something like that. So did others on the Democratic side. And after the fires that have ravaged California, it's really concerning that the candidates were afraid to answer that question. They were instead talking about prevention measures, which are very important. But the root of the question was, what do you do after it happens? I think that was concerning. I don't think that will land well with voters.
Many voters beginning to pay attention to this race. A lot of these debates can shape first impressions. So how much do debates like these actually influence California voters? Did yesterday's debate meaningfully shift the political landscape for any of these candidates? Like from your perspective, obviously.
Yeah, from my perspective, it definitely shifted Hilton. I had a lot of people text me throughout the debate, and then those that were in person talked to me aside, and they're like, oh, I did not realize that Hilton was British. But you heard him on stage, like using British terminology, talking about his experience with prime ministers, like talking about civics in a way that Americans don't because it's so different. I think that's really shocking to voters. We have others where candidates just felt bland. Some of them felt like they were too media trained. Debates really give us a level to authentically connect with the candidates, not just like everybody who watches, anybody who's a likely voter or not a likely voter, they get to interact with candidates and actually see what all the candidates look like, how they talk, and who they feel like can authentically represent them. And I don't know if any candidate stood out as somebody who has the style of a governor. So in my perspective, this debate just muddied the water. I think that by the next two debates, we'll start to see a clear standout with polling.
Thank you very much, Diego, for your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Have a good one.
Well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body. I know not everybody has got a body.
Former City Councilor Ron Galperin spoke at the Dornsife Center for the Professional Future today. He was first elected as controller in 2013 and served until 2022, and is the first LGBTQ official elected citywide in Los Angeles. Galperin is also a former fellow at the Dornsife College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences. Ailey Cepeda has the story.
Before discussing his career and the work he did as city controller, Galperin offered some life and job advice for college students.
Life takes us on many different journeys that we weren't actually expecting. And sometimes the things that we think we really want turn out to be not the things that we actually are most passionate about. Although what it really helps, I think, is to start out with a philosophy that you want to try and experience as many things as you can, and that you want to go with what your passions are, what's meaningful to you.
Galprin said that he never wanted to be involved in politics until he was inspired by a letter about a road in his neighborhood not being paved for 30 years. This experience opened his eyes to many of LA's financial problems. An initial run for city council eventually pushed him to pursue running for city controller. Collaboration helped Galprin learn everything he knows today.
And so I had no idea what it is that I was doing whatsoever. There were 6 of us candidates who were running for the 5th Council District. And I learned as I went along, and I met an awful lot of people, and I had a lot of people who really helped me in a variety of different ways.
Junior Dor Peretz attended the coffee talk for an internship class she takes at Dornsife. She found Galprin's experience working with various elected members of the government, such as city council and mayoral office, to be helpful to her future plans. Peretz is majoring in philosophy, politics, and law, as well as cognitive science.
Well, I thought it was interesting what he said about how he ran a campaign that was bad for city council but great for city controller. And I'm not sure if I want to go into campaign work, but I think if I ever do, that's definitely something to keep in mind in terms of tailoring people's campaigns messaging to the job, because you could be really skilled and great at what you do, but maybe not even realize like what the best path for you is. Yeah.
Sophomore Samir Wassan is studying philosophy, politics, and economics. He said he attended the event because he's interested in public finance and how the budget plays a role in LA.
I thought that his experience was really interesting, and hearing about that and hearing about how he applied that to the city of Los Angeles, and then how it could be applied to other, state and federal regions as well, could be interesting.
As controller, Galprin launched the LA Equity Index, which uses data to monitor inequity in the city. He spoke candidly about homelessness in LA and provided valuable insight about what can be done from a financial perspective.
I've counted up, as of today, there are something like 82 funds that have something to do with housing or homelessness. Now, we're never going to consolidate them all into one for legal reasons and for practical reasons, but when your money is so dispersed in that way, it creates a lot of problems.
Galprin was critical about how city resources for helping the unhoused have been spent.
I think a lot of it has been squandered, quite frankly.
Wassan, the Dornsife student, agreed that Los Angeles can do better to address this and other issues.
I think it would just be really interesting to see a more concentrated and intentional campaign by the city of Los Angeles to not only address how they're addressing the homelessness crisis, but address their previous failures.
Since January, Galprin has served as the interim president of the American Jewish Committee of LA. He's also been busy raising 6-year-old twins with his husband, who is a rabbi. Galprin is the son of Jewish immigrant parents. Students can stay up to date on events and talks like these by signing up for the Dornsife Center for the Professional Futures newsletter online at dornsife.usc.edu.
May is Jewish American History Month. USC celebrated early at Hahn Plaza today. We went to the celebration this morning to talk to students and community members why it was important. Lizzie Leah Toad has the story.
A year after the undergraduate student government recognized May as Jewish American Heritage Month, USC held its first celebration recognizing the month. Gathered outside Tommy Trojan, students, faculty, and community members came together for the Jewish American Heritage Month celebration. Student musical performances added a backdrop of stillness.
This is the first time we celebrate this here at USC, which I think is significant in and of itself. It joins a lovely cadre of celebrating, all of the nationally recognized celebrated months, which I think is important just for representation for all of them.
That was Adam Rosen, the Associate Vice President for Cultural Relations and University Events. He helps oversee the production of all of USC's Cultural Month celebrations. He hopes attendees find community and connection through the event.
Whether you are Jewish or not, it's, allyship or maybe not, just the connection and being here to support.
After a series of speakers and short musical performances, USC offered food to attendees and opened the space for everyone to come together. One attendee was happy to have a space to reconnect. Hannah Reisler is a community member. She shares that she came to say hello to friends.
It's a nice event, and it's the first time it ever is happening at USC. Just a community that is coming together, a sense of community.
Creating spaces for the Jewish community on campus was important for Dave Cohn, executive director of Hillel at USC. He shared that Hillel worked with USC to plan the event as part of their effort to promote thriving Jewish life on campus.
I think it's important that we celebrate who we are, and by that I mean the importance of feeling rooted, seen, supported to flourish in our campus environment, trying to show that the diversity of identities that come together to make USC what it is all have the opportunity to be fully seen.
Students stopped by on their way to class to grab a bite and learn a bit more about the Jewish identity. For Annenberg Media, I'm Lizzie Liato.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever.
This Friday marks the annual May Day movement, a national day of protests and rallies that feature the slogan, "No work, no school, no shopping." May Day in Los Angeles this year is being especially defined as a counter-movement against the Trump administration's attacks on workers and immigrant rights. Annenberg Media reporter Ilyas Alafi has the story.
Originating from the 1886 Chicago Haymarket Square riots, where workers demanded an 8-hour day, May Day is a global day of action for worker solidarity, protests, and parades. 5051, a nationwide protest organization standing for 50 protests, 50 states, one movement, provides additional support to labor unions. Nick Miller, their press coordinator, feels it's important for the community to share its voice.
Our main focus is on mass mobilization. So these large protests that we can coordinate with other organizations and other groups to kind of like create this coalition that really demonstrates how many people are against the current administration.
Miller thinks it's important for people to be more aware of what May Day is.
That it's not just a celebration of labor. It's a reminder that we have to constantly fight for the rights that our ancestors fought for us.
Last year, the Democratic Socialists of America officially joined the May Day Strong movement. Leslie Chang is the co-chair of the Los Angeles DSA. She explains the meaning of May Day's theme this year, no work, no school, no shopping, is designed to appeal to all community members.
And what we're really trying to emphasize here is solidarity across, solidarity across different types of communities, regardless of race, gender, sex, where you come from, and of course, what country you were born in. And I think that's really critical to emphasize this year in particular because of everything that's going on with the Trump administration.
Since the beginning of this term, President Trump has significantly increased immigration enforcement crackdowns. Chang understands that the Trump administration will continue to target Los Angeles because of its large immigrant population.
So for May Day this year, demonstrating as much as possible that when people come together, we can take it back, we can shut it down, demonstrating to the Trump administration that actually withholding our economic power is going to be the greatest way to get our voices heard.
Chang believes that more people are seeing May Day as building to something greater in 2028, rather than a single annual event.
The May Day Strong Coalition nationally is really focused on how we can make 2028 a major flashpoint, not only for the labor movement and also for the immigrant justice movement, but also for this administration.
She shares her excitement on the amount of outreach she has received this year.
More and more people are learning about what it means to exercise their constitutional rights, and more people are learning about what it actually means to have power in the United States.
In the words of Chang, although people don't have much institutional power by themselves, when they come together, people power can make a big difference. To find your nearest May Day rally, visit maydaystrong.org. For Annenberg Media, I'm Ilyas Alafi.
Los Angeles City observed the 27th annual Denim Day at the Los Angeles City Hall. Zoe Fan has the story.
We wear denim as resistance. We wear denim to reclaim our stories and stand up to systems that have blamed us, silenced us, and ignored us.
That's LA City Council member Eunices Hernandez speaking to a crowd on the City Hall South steps.
We wear denim to say very clearly we believe survivors, always. When we say survivors, we mean all survivors. Survivors of every gender identity and expression. Trans survivors, non-binary survivors, survivors whose stories are too often overlooked or dismissed.
Denim Day is observed internationally to call attention to sexual assault and abuse. This morning in Los Angeles, a nonprofit called Peace Over Violence hosted a Denim Day rally and press conference outside City Hall. The event featured survivors, advocates, and city leaders speaking out against sexual violence and calling for greater awareness and support. Councilmember Hernandez spoke about what the day means to her.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, and I stand before you today, not just as an ally, but as a survivor myself. Today, we mark another year of Denim Day, a powerful, visible act of defiance in the face of shame and injustice. A day where we come together to say no more.
Denim Day is recognized on the last Wednesday in April. Why is it called Denim Day? It goes back to a 1990s Italian court ruling in a rape case. The court overturned the conviction, arguing that because the victim was wearing tight denim jeans, there must have been consent. The ruling sparked outrage. Women organized protests in the Italian parliament by wearing denim in solidarity, which drew international attention. Patty Giggins, the executive director of Peace Over Violence, was inspired by the protests. Giggins launched the first official Denim Day campaign in Los Angeles in 1999 with the organization. Since then, Denim Day has become a global movement that encourages people to wear denim to challenge the stigma of sexual assault and support survivors. California lawmakers also marked the day at the state capitol. The Assembly passed House Resolution 31, which officially recognizes April as a Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Denim Day. According to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, nearly 1 in 2 women have experienced unwanted sexual contact, and 1 in 4 undergraduate women report experiencing sexual assault or misconduct. Councilwoman Heather Hutt believes Denim Day is one step in the right direction for the city.
Denim Day is a reminder that we don't get to judge how someone handles their trauma. We don't get to look for holes in the story to make ourselves feel more comfortable. And today, I want to reaffirm my commitment to make this city a place where survivors are met with compassion, resources, and a safety net.
Survivors who spoke at the event shared their stories.
I'm Elia Braden, and I'm a survivor of sexual assault. I know from my own experience how many survivors are afraid to come forward to friends or family, much less the police, after they've been violated.
Braden says she was sexually abused at home as a child.
I literally wiped it from my mind until my early 20s, when a magazine article about incest triggered a flood of flashbacks about the abuse.
Adrian Garland, a clinical intern with Peace Over Violence, feels that these events serve as a spotlight.
I think it's really important to shine awareness on, this event and just awareness of sexual assault, awareness of survivors and supporting survivors, especially being here at City Hall at this event. I think it's just really important to stand up for people who don't have a voice.
Denim Day is now observed worldwide, with major participation in Canada, Italy, India, Australia, Mexico, South Africa, Singapore, and the United Kingdom. Peace Over Violence will be holding a 5K walk/run on Sunday at Ocean View Park in Santa Monica in honor of survivor resilience. For Annenberg Media, I'm Zoe Fan.
And that's all we have time for on today's From Where We Are. Because this is our last show, we wanted to invite our producers in to say our final goodbyes. Please welcome Carl Masad, Naya Mane, and Lizzie Leoto.
Hello, everybody. Hello, our listeners.
Hey guys, how are you guys doing?
Hi. I'm wonderful. So it's your last day. Do you have any favorite highlights from this semester?
I mean, I guess I'll go first. I'll say that, honestly, my favorite highlight of the semester was just the hard work that everybody put in. It's so rare that you get to see people united around a single cause, a single objective, and the amount of work that everybody has put in, everybody from the reporters to the coaches to our awesome hosts, has been humbling and inspiring.
For me, I just really, really enjoyed the group that we had. I think everybody was very, very fun to work with. I really enjoyed coming in every day, and everybody's really funny also, so it makes everything a lot more good of a time for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same things. Sorry, hearing myself is freaking me out. I love coming in every week. Wednesdays are always my favorite day of the week. And I just have so much fun. I'm trying to think if there's like specific highlights, but I just think we've done so much over the semester that it's just been a lot of fun. I think my highlight is like us going from it being like chaos every day to like getting a flow.
Getting a flow. Live at 5.
It's been a very good flow lately. Yeah.
It has been. It's been a good time, but a good time. Naya and Carl, you're graduating.
That's right.
Any big plans that you want to share with us?
You can go ahead. You can go first on this one.
None in mind. I'm probably going to catch up on the months of sleep that I lost during the semester and probably go back home for a little bit at some point in the summer. once my
Minnesota.
lease is up. Minnesota. And go on a boat and go tubing. You haven't lived until you've tubed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I like that.
I'm probably going to take the proactive step to reconnect with the nature or something like that. I'm going to be traveling. I'm going back to Arizona for a little bit, see some family, and probably not look at a screen for a very long time. So don't Slack me, don't message me, don't add me in the stories, please.
All right, Lizzie, you'll be starting your junior year though, right? So will you be coming back to ARN?
Oh, of course I'll be coming back to ARN. You know, I love ARN. It's like the best thing ever. So see me back here, you know, but it'll be sad. Everyone will be gone. Who will I even know?
Yeah, who will you talk to?
Yeah.
Just a wall.
Yeah, even like Daisha Lynn is leaving. I'm like, what's ARN without her, you know?
I know.
Yeah, that's three
Who will you know? But
Daisha
everyone
Lynn.
will know you.
Daisha Lynn. Shout out Daisha Lynn Satcher.
Yeah, I'll have to work extra hard to carry on the legacy of everyone.
You gotta
especially
put on all our roles.
Especially Carl Massad.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Who's gonna do the Trump impressions every day?
All right.
Nobody.
So, go ahead. Continue.
All right. Do you guys have anything else to say to our listeners?
I'll say that to everybody who's been listening to us, thank you so much. To everybody who's helped bring this show about, thank you so much. And I'd like to say this, that journalism is never as important as when it is being actively dismissed.
So that was really deep. I was just going to say, like, have a great summer or something. Like,
Hags.
you would put on your yearbook. But thank you, everyone, for listening. To all of our, like, 3 to 10 viewers. I love you guys so
Yo,
dearly.
whose ever grandma is on right now.
I love you. Yeah.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for joining us. One more time, our executive producer was Carl Massad.
Hell yeah.
Naya Mane and Lizzie Leoto also produced today's show.
Our board operator is Tate Harahan. Our live stream manager is Will Gwynn. Our audio director is Leslie Berenstein Rojas. Sebastian Gruba is our technical supervisor. I'm Rusty. And Derek Renfro composed our theme music.
Catch us live on YouTube at Annenberg Radio News Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Subscribe to From Where We Are wherever you're listening to right now. Finally, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Annenberg Radio. For the last time and signing out, I'm Carla Cruz.
And I'm Mari Cruz Villalobos. From all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us again for
From Where We Are!
Do I find it so hard?